Hello and welcome to the show. This week, a princess was kidnapped, held for ransom, and the man who loves her fights his way through an evil house staff to save her. A young adventurer leaves home to save his land from a dark wizard. It's dangerous to go alone, but he does anyway. Somebody set us up the bomb. You have no chance to survive. Make your time. For great justice. Welcome everyone to GameMarx. We are going to dive right in with our reviews. Cicely, what was your review this week?
This week I reviewed Wizard's Keep. Wizard's Keep is an action RPG in the same vein as Chrono Trigger and Zelda, only there's almost no story to speak of. You're a warrior who's been away from home for a while and now an evil wizard has taken over. Said wizard isn't out to get you for being some preordained hero, nor are you interrupting some needlessly overcomplicated plot or rescuing someone. You just don't like the new status quo. By the end of the game, it felt like I was the evil wizard going out hacking and slashing through villages of goblins, knights, and other seemingly peace-loving creatures. I liked that the game felt fast-paced, and that to beat the game there's minimal grinding necessary. All enemies can be engaged or ignored on your own terms. Nothing needed much explaining inside the menus, and combat was fairly easy. My final verdict on this game is a buy.
Alright, Wizard's Keep review is up on the website. My review this week was Junk Fields. The first time I played Junk Fields, I was ready to dismiss the title as another ambitious failure on Xbox Live indie games. The initial faults of the game were the controls and the HUD. The HUD dominates the screen, obscuring enemies in most of the land. The controls lock the mech to face the target. This was upsetting not only because of the limitation, but also because I'm used to being able to rotate the torso independent of the legs. As I played more of the game, I grew accustomed to the controls. The HUD also became acceptable, providing relevant information when needed. I still think the HUD can use a design overall, but it's not as bad as my initial impression made it seem. Two key features I think any mech game must have: custom builds and salvage. Junk Field does well to reward the player for experimenting with configurations. Battles that seem hard at first become much easier with a different build. Salvage is also present on the field, and weapons can be picked up mid-battle to replace empty or damaged parts. The missions in Junk Field are not complex, but they are varied. In the course of the game, I led an assault team, stopped a convoy, ran an escort mission, and intercepted a missile attack. The final levels include taking down a mobile war machine and defeating an elite mech guard. I was able to stop the war machine, but could not best the elite guard. An update is coming for Junk Fields that improves the English translation and adds a multiplayer mode. This is a great update, but the game stands great as it is now. Junk Fields is a qualified buy, that qualification being one must love mechs. Veterans will experience some initial discomfort in the controls and the HUD, but will be rewarded with a great mech game should they let go of some assumptions and allow Junk Field to be its own game. And now we go to Dylan with his review.
This week I reviewed Love Hurts, a brawler with a cartoony art style and a quirky sense of humor. The game is worth a trial for the art style alone, in fact. It's retro done right, hitting all the right notes of old NES or pixelated PC games without aping any particular style too obviously. The humor isn't overbearing. From the start to the very end, it manages to convey its quirkiness even when it's not relying on sight gags and jokes. Gameplay, however, is where Love Hurts hurts. The fighting system is competent, and the main character's attacks are quick. However, hit detection is a bit off in places. The main character's slow movement makes reacting to attacks difficult. There is a silver lining, though. After a few failures, I figured out which tactics were effective, and the game became much easier, even to the point of compensating for the rough control and hit detection. There's a certain thrill of discovery in the challenge, which is a good thing. At only 4 levels, that adds just enough depth to a game that would otherwise be too short. Given the issues with gameplay, many people will find it frustrating or unappealing. Personally, though, I had a lot of fun. Eventually. If nothing else, the art style alone is worth a look. My final verdict is a buy.
Review is up on the website. You know, I think this is a first. All 3 of us gave buys this week. Don't get used to it. And now is the time of the week where we choose our top 5 indie games of the week. As always, you can hear us discuss all the new releases this week on our podcast. Check it out at GameMarx.com/podcast. Our first game up this week is Hearts of Men. Classic, and Mr. Jay-Z is a developer. And this is the Hearts of Gauntlet. Yes. You have even the characters of Gauntlet. You have the elf, the warrior, the wizard, and the barbarian, I think, is the...
Yeah. Except this time it's warrior, elf, like warlock, and...
War elf, yeah, something else like that. Because they were going for such a Gauntlet vibe, I noticed more of what was missing of Gauntlet. Namely, like the hundreds of creatures on the screen at once. You know, it seemed like there was only like a handful on a time at once.
You run into groups of 2, basically.
Yeah, and they were easily caught on corners, so, you know, they weren't overwhelming or anything like that. What did you guys think?
I haven't played much Gauntlet, so, you know, I don't have as much of a comparison there. I actually really liked it, mainly because of the graphical polish. I don't know. I don't know that I would like the Gauntlet mechanic of the constantly ticking health. You know,
it didn't seem to tick down fast enough to where it was noticeable.
Yeah.
For my time playing Gauntlet, it was very fast. So it almost seems pointless the speed that it ticks down in this game. I got more damage from just bumping up against a creature than I did from the ticking down.
Yeah. Although the first time I played it, I died pretty quickly. So I don't know. It's still a good game. I'm just not as big on Gauntlet.
Our next game this week is Laser Logic. Puzzle and Trivia, Stephen M. Bennett is the developer on it. This is another awesome puzzle game. Probably won't do well because of its platform, but I found it kind of fun. I found it a nice... It wasn't challenging in the mental sense of where I had to figure it out. I could kind of bumble my way and just stumble around and figure it out. You know, I basically I extended all of the lasers, and then, you know, the one that I couldn't extend, it's like, well, this thing needs to go one more. Where's the gap? Where's the hole of one? And how can I move that gap closer? That's not to say I was bored. It just wasn't mentally challenging.
I attacked it from the other angle. I sat and tried to figure things out the first time I played, and it took forever, and then when we were recording the video here, I did exactly what you did. I thought it was a really unique... I haven't seen that game concept before. I really enjoyed it.
It was interesting. I started from whichever one looked like it was the only one who could hit a certain spot, and then worked my way around there, and then did the trial and error. But it was interesting. Not exactly something I'd look for, but not something that I wouldn't at least try out for a while once I picked it up.
Our next game this week is The Sugar Killers. This is action and adventure by Fun Hazard. This one had a lot of graphical polish to it, and little cinematic story opening to it. I was kind of almost let down as much as it build up in the game to realize it was a shooter.
Yeah,
you know, essentially,
dual-stick shooter.
It was a dual-stick shooter, but it kind of is side-scroller around there. But it looks like it'd have a lot of co-op fun. So this might be like a guilty pleasure type game. You know, it's not really deep or involved. The weapons, I toggled through the different weapons, and most of them seem to be pretty useless.
Yeah, and you start out with all of them, so it's really kind of strategy.
I didn't figure out how to toggle through them. All I did was I had a shotgun, and then I had the super shotgun when I had enough energy to it. But that was fun enough, and the AI looked like they were the typical people. You had the, I know how to use this guy. You had the, I'm just going wherever I want to guy.
Yeah, the problem I actually had with the AI was that they were almost too good. I was sitting there trying to figure out what was going on, and they were just killing everything. And there seems to be some sort of money system that comes into play, so...
I don't know if that's going to be used on upgrades or where that will play out later, but there definitely was a coin collection thing happening. I know on me, the AI never got caught by the little frog tongues.
Yeah.
And I was constantly running around stuck on one of those, so they were playing good. But it could be a fun game if you had 4 people over. And,
yeah, with 4 people, or with 3 other people, it wouldn't be as much.
It would be a very
issue.
entertaining story. Our next game up is Bucko Stako. It is a platformer by Takamashu Games, and this is a bug that farts and spits its way to glory.
Yeah, that's...
This cockroach, and it touches another insect, and it flips over dead.
Yep. It's really weird. It's kind of a... It's not really a puzzle platformer, but it does have that puzzle element. You have to pick up the food to build up enough gas and pick up the water canisters to...
And you kind of need to be careful and ration out the gas and the spit, because you may need it to actually get past. You use the gas to boost jump, and then you can use the spit to grow flowers and things to climb up to other ledges.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like there were too many instances where not rationing it gets you in trouble from the trial.
But this was
maybe
early
later.
in the game.
Yeah, it was early in the game.
There were a lot of effects like the fans used to direct farts around. That seems like that could become an element later in the game, but I only got through the first 2 levels, I think, when I played the trial.
I think if it was anything other than a cockroach, I probably would have enjoyed it better.
Our next game, the title is Japanese, and Google translates it as "In the Ear, Do You Mat?" I think that's probably way off of whatever that was intended to be.
You said the translation had Mimi in it, and Mimi is obviously the name of the protagonist. So...
Well, that's just the first 2 characters set off by a space, so I figured it was a single word.
My best attempt would be Mimi in Zazukai is about what that looks like. We will go now to Asian reporter Trisha Takanawa to give us a pronunciation.
Mimi in Zazukai.
All right, then. It is a shooter. Take 55 is the developer. And it's kind of weird because there's nothing amazingly different. It's a dual-stick shooter like many others. But you're collecting
points, I
these
guess.
Points or something left by the creatures, and you collect the points by stopping to shoot for a second, and then they rush into you all at once. And then the creatures, before they pop out, they kind of mark where they're going to come from, so you can kind of get out of the way and make sure you're shooting in that direction. It actually seems more fun than I can explain it to be. I mean, there wasn't anything new or groundbreaking going on here.
No
but
story, no nothing. It was just go shoot, press A, you're going.
There seems to be a game imposed time limit on the trial. Like, everything goes dark and you go back to the menu, so it's hard to tell what the game is going to be like later on, if it's just that one stage or what it becomes. But I actually did enjoy the gameplay.
Alright, so in the ear do you, Matt? So now it is time to go over these top 5 and pick our GameMarx Game of the Week. What are you guys feeling this week? Hearts of Men, I felt, was really graphically polished, but didn't really deliver on the gameplay. Same with the Sugar Killers. They didn't quite... The gameplay wasn't anything amazing, but the graphical polish was great. Mimi in the ear, Mimi cut Tsuzuki kind of...
For me, it's between Sugar Killers and Mimi.
Really, I would probably I don't know, Hearts of Men. I almost want to give it to the to Laser Gamer. Forgot the name of it.
I don't.
The laser puzzle game.
But I don't know. Doesn't have quite the graphical polish of the other two. I would probably be tempted to go Hearts of Men.
I think so. Down between Shooter Killers and Hearts of Men. They're both probably good co-op, fun-play games, and I think I would lean to Hearts of Men. We've had a lot of dual-stick shooters, but not as many Gauntlet style. So are we okay with Hearts of Men?
I'll abstain and voting.
Alright, congratulations, Hearts of Men. You are GameMarx Game of the Week. Now you can get that wizard some food that he needs so badly. Hey, we just want to give a quick link out here to globalgiving.org. You can go to globalgiving.org and click the big red Help Now button to send some relief aid funds to victims of the Japan earthquake and relief fund. Obviously, us here at GameMarx, we like to play a lot of games that come out of Japan, and hopefully things can return to normal in a relatively soon time. So just go to globalgiving.org and click the big red Help Now button. Thank you everyone for watching the show.